Hi everyone, it's Harpreet and welcome back to the Threepreet podcast. This week we'll be talking about careers, on what society and our parents thought we should be and what careers we got into. So I thought that we would start opening this up with our self journey of our careers, kind of talking about we got our degrees, but in the end of the day, where did we end up? And so I can kind of start it off if that's okay. So I originally wanted to do nursing, and throughout my education, I kind of switched from nursing to health science, and now I'm into higher ed. So I work in a college setting as a residence director, and I live on the campus. So you can see nursing to higher ed and living on a campus was a huge 360 for me. So how was it for you all?
So for me, I have never had a one alley career. I feel like every couple of years I would switch what I wanted to do.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, I want to hear.
Yes, you do though. I remember I originally wanted to be a dentist and go to Dartmouth.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was middle school, and then hop into high school. I wanted to be an accountant because I wanted to have a cubicle. Hopped to college, took accounting, worst thing in the entire universe. Became a finance major because I really like Excel. Went abroad, ditched finance.
Mm-hmm.
We know this from previous episodes, and I became an international business and economics major. But in the future, I want to be an architect, and I've been on that path for a good 8 years, so hopefully this one sticks.
Yeah, that's been pretty concrete for you. I feel like it was major versus career.
Yeah. I've had a tough time figuring out the difference between the two.
Yeah.
What about you, woman?
So for me, it's kind of a little different, maybe a little similar to Justpreet, where I wanted to be in the medical field since I was 5, and I followed that pathway all the way to the end of college when I majored in biochemistry. And then when I graduated college and I was ready to commit to the medical field, I kind of just realized I had so many questions and so many doubts, and I was just basically I was wondering if I had kind of pigeonholed myself into one career and never really looked around. So I spent a couple of years doing different jobs in different areas, like human resources, and then I also did registration at a hospital, and then I also have a ton of obvious customer service experience working at the restaurant and kind of learning what a small business is like. So I really, really needed to know what all those things were like before I committed to yes, I'm going to do medicine, just because it is such a expensive and time-consuming field to get into. So I'm really glad that I did that for myself.
Yeah, I honestly think that people change their careers so often nowadays, and so there's not one thing that you're going to be an expert at, so
I feel like the whole what are you going to be when you grow up, it's such a lie. How do adults expect kids to be one thing when they're going to grow up, or how do they expect a little kid to even know? So it just seems kind of like a ridiculous question to ask. I genuinely think it comes from a place of, I don't know how to talk to this child, so let me just ask them the most basic ass question.
Dad, oh my god. You know what I think it is also? I've realized in Eastern education, they don't really allow you to see different topics or different areas that you would possibly want to go into, in college or even outside of college, versus Western, because we have a cousin in the her school was all based on what you want to do in the future. So for high school, she didn't have a curriculum that we had here, math, science, blah, blah, blah. She had it more based on what she thought she wanted to do in the future, classes around that to see if she actually wanted to pursue that in college.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think you might have had it switched. So Western would be us, and then maybe you weren't.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's fine. But yeah, I think the only avenue that we have to check out classes of what we possibly want to do in the future is career technical classes, and not all universities or high schools offer that.
Yeah. Our high school was kind of a unique one because I'd never heard of a high school having a career technical center for people to like even start their careers right after high school. So
Yeah,
Well,
it's very like if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you don't.
well, there was also, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but there was a weird dichotomy in my grade where if you're a CTC kid, you were kind of looked down upon as being like dumb, versus if you just did like general courses and like AP classes, you were like the smart kids.
No, I think my grade had a very good integration of like everything.
Yeah. What about you, Harpreet?
yeah, I think like I said in another episode, I think your class was just very mean.
Yeah.
And so it was opposite for us. A lot of smart kids were in the CDC, and whenever we would talk about like the career technical center and people like applying to their like perspective like career path and getting into a program, they'd be like, "Oh wow, you got into the program," that kind of thing. So
I guess that's true. I don't know. I just remember the CTC was gonna get shut down, and I was walking around during lunch to get people to sign a petition, and then I remember someone coming up to me, like my friend came up to me and said, like, so and so was saying like CTC is such a joke. It's just for like dumb kids. It's so dumb that she's going around with a petition. So that was my grade for you.
I do see where they're coming in the sense that growing up, if you weren't book smart, people just didn't think you were smart in general. And then coming to college, and I mean high school, and seeing kids like in electrical engineering and like graphic design and like cooking and animal science, you realize that there's like another way to learn and another like avenue to like get that education. But here in the States, we're forced to like read and memorize in order to prove our smartness. But some students don't learn like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's great. I think did all of us do like a CTC program? I know me and Harper did the same one,
Yeah, I did one.
and then you did graphic design, right?
Yeah, I know Marinder did one too.
That's awesome. So me and Harper did licensed nursing assisting. And then right after I graduated, they added like a year two EMT option, which I'm so bummed that I didn't get to do, but that's awesome that they do that now.
Yeah, I wish we had that option.
Literally, schools get better once you leave. It's never during.
Yeah. So, kind of shifting gears here, like I think this happens in kind of every household or whatever, but specifically a brown household. Like, what did your parents expect you to be a certain thing when you grew up? Let's just put it that way.
So for me, I wanted to be in the medical field since I was 5, and everyone knew it. So I wasn't expected to be like a doctor. It was just something that I wanted to do. So I kind of curved a lot of those brand expectations up until I doubted medicine, and then it was very much like, why wouldn't you want to do that? You should definitely do that. So I kind of didn't get any of that growing up just because I was already on that path anyway. But then later on when I was having doubts, that's where it definitely came in to play.
Yeah, I feel like with our households, correct me if I'm wrong, that like our parents just wanted us to do something that made us happy. Is that correct? I don't know. Like I didn't have my parents telling me that I needed to be a specific like thing. I didn't have to be an engineer. I didn't have to be a nurse. It was just something that came out of my mouth that I wanted to be a nurse, and that's why my parents were just like, "Oh, you're going to be a nurse." Like that's great.
I feel like mine was completely different because you guys kind of always knew what you wanted to be. And then I was just like, just like floating in the air because like I'm one of the youngest. So my parents were just like, oh, the older ones will like help you out, figure your life out for you, blah, blah, blah. So they were very like hands off in the whole like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like they never like asked that. Well, they asked it, but like they weren't like serious about it, So I literally had like a whole different experience than you guys. But then once I said I wanted to do architecture, which is a very like, I feel like they see it as more of like an arts type of thing than they see as like a job. they were kind of like, I kind of got pushed back. I was like, no, you should do something in finance. You have a business degree. Go do something in that.
Mhm.
So it's kind of been hard to push back and be like, no, I don't want to work at like the same company that everyone else in our family is working at. I want to do architecture. I'm going to pursue it. So I think that's the only thing I've had like kind of issues with, but I've never had expectations of what I should be. They were just like, make money, be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like everyone high key expects me to get like a real job, not something that they deem in like the arts section. They want me to have like a very concrete 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I given that how I told you all career wise how I've gone from nursing health science to higher ed, none of my family knew what higher ed was, and I always get like, oh, you're a professor? And I'm like, no, I'm an administrator. But then they're like, oh, describe what you do. And I'm like, I'm a residence director, so I'm basically like managing a residence hall, but also have a student staff and like all of that. And so every time I say I work at a college, people assume that I'm a professor, which I do teach one class, by the way, not to toot my own horn.
She's
But
a mini professor.
but yeah, like I think I went in a not a taboo direction, but like a direction where really none of our like family members have gone to, except for Amin's dad. Like he was a teacher
Yeah, I
in
was.
India.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like I went in a direction where people were like, what's higher ed?
Yeah, it's not like an expected career / it's unless you know what it is, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like parents know like the 5 lucrative careers, and those are the ones they recommend. They're not going to recommend something they don't know.
Literally.
Yeah, they're gonna be either like engineering,
Mm-hmm.
computer science,
Yep.
doctor, nurse. What else?
Like business, finance.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah. Looking at the family, we high-key hit a majority of those. It's going in the medical field. We got Amrit and Guggen in CS. And then me and Amrinder in business.
Yeah.
Harpreet's the only outlier in this situation.
That's true.
Harpreet.
I feel like I'm usually the outlier, just saying.
Yeah.
So regarding career pressure, I don't know if you guys feel this, but the only pressure that I just didn't appreciate having was that once you said you wanted to be something, you were just like so like stuck in that thing. Like it just feels like you can't change your mind, or if you do change your mind, it's such a big thing. And I think if I have kids going forward, I'll just really encourage them to explore different careers before I'm like, okay, you're this, right? You're gonna be this, right? So I just think like that feeling locked in is just something that I never really appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like putting emphasis on exploring different areas is very important, because you just don't want to get stuck in a career where you're just like, oh, I'm making a decent amount of money, but in the end of the day, like, are you happy in it? If you're not happy in it, is it worth working there? No. So exploring different areas career-wise is pretty important when it comes to like your future and stuff.
So obviously there's like pressure to have a career and to be financially independent and stable, right? How do you balance that with whether or not you're happy? Because I've had a job where I like was making more than enough money, but I was so unhappy every single day. So I've talked to some people and they're like, I just quit those jobs. Like, it's not worth being miserable. But then obviously when you talk to your parents, it's just like, you're making so much money. Why would you quit? So what are your values regarding like happiness in a career? Would you quit a job that pays well, but you're not happy?
So I think one of the biggest thing I learned being in like the Paul College and a business school is that my advisor and my career counselor person, they really emphasized you're young. If you do not like what you're doing, quit and get out now and figure it out. mostly everyone that was like a mentor to me or like someone I really respected, they were like, we did not start out in the business school. We did not start out anything in business. And they just like adapted to what they wanted to do, figured it out later in life. And they're in a place that they're like happy. And just seeing like how much they make now, how they like struggled a little bit, their payoff of like how much money they make now, how happy they are, it was worth it. So I feel like I will always choose happiness over money, but I feel like that's also something privileged I can say, because like our parents have money. If I'm struggling, they'll help me out.
I just like I really so we'll talk about like dating later on, but one thing I kind of promised myself is that I'm not going to marry just for the sake of getting married. I like one of my values is like marrying someone that you actually fall in love with or feel like you have a connection to. So I just feel like one of my values that I would want to make is, like Jaspreet said, doing a career that actually makes you happy. But that just seems like so hard to commit to in reality because like everyone needs money. So go ahead, Harper, with what you were gonna say.
Yeah, mine is kind of the opposite-ish. Higher ed, you do not make a lot of money. That's what I want to put out there right now. And so right now I'm single right now, so it's fine for me and I can save my money and I work and live on the campus and I get a free apartment. So that's a perk and that makes me save the money that I earn. And so yeah, mine's kind of the opposite. I think that if I have a job or a career that's gonna make me happy, which I'm happy in the career I'm in, I'm not gonna be a residence director all my life, but I work with students, and that's what makes me happy. And in the end of the day, yeah, I'm making a little bit less than I had hoped, but I think I emphasize the points that you all made that you just need to find something that makes you happy. And even if it's a little bit less than you think you were going to make, I think that's okay. Because in the end of the day, you need to be happy in order to do your job.
I have a question. Just like looking at how we were raised and what we have, do you guys think that there's some pressure of living up to what our parents provided for us that we should at least baseline provide for ourselves?
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. I think when I was contemplating that job that I hated so much, that was the one thing that I kept thinking about. I was like, if I don't commit to a job like this, then how am I ever going to be able to match my parents one day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that pressure. And that I've already told myself that I wouldn't want to have kids until I'm financially able to provide for them, just because I wouldn't want to put them through that.
Yeah, I feel like I admire how my parents saved so much money in order to put us through school, and like never did they ever make me feel like we didn't have enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there is that pressure, and in the end of the day, just like what Amin said, when I have kids, I want to be able to do the same thing for them, you know? And so yeah, there's that pressure, but I feel like we have those people to look up to, like our parents, to keep us in check, you know? And so yeah, we might splurge money here or there, but
Yeah.
in the end of the day, like even I'm gonna be 28 soon. I know that I need to be saving because I know that I'm gonna have a family down the line. I don't have a significant other right now, but I know I will have a family in the next like maybe 3 or 4 years, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just like think about how they started. They came here with like nothing and they've built themselves so well. Like they have their own business, they have their money, they've put 2 kids each through college. They've given us everything. Like Harpreet said, I never felt like we didn't have money, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, I see all the advantages that they gave us and I'm like, I should be doing better than them with the advantages I was given. But at my current state, I'm not. And sure, in like 10 years, if I'm not where my parents are, I don't know, I'm gonna feel like a failure.
Well, think about where your parents were at that age. Like, don't compare yourself to where they are now.
Yeah, I think what I see myself is like, I'm assuming like my dad came here when he was like 30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And at 50, he's like done well. Like my mom as well. And like, I don't know, I want to have like a timeline for myself where like I can buy them the house, I can get them everything that they want. Because high key, I want to buy them a different house so I can buy my house. Thank you. But like, I don't know, I feel like some sort of pressure that I need to excel and do better than them in order to make their sacrifice worth it.
Yeah. I think I would just remember, like I said, where they were. So my dad came here when he was 30, and that's when he started. So I think about that a lot
Yeah.
as I went through kind of my career confusion. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Going off of that, like, are you all happy with the journey that you've gone through to kind of figure out what you want to do? Or are you still trying to find that career that fits you?
So I brushed on this a little bit. I'm definitely happy with the realizations that I've made. Am I happy that I had to go through everything I went to make those realizations? I don't think anyone would say that about going through a struggle. No one likes to struggle, but they do appreciate the person they become on the other side of it.
I haven't had that big of a journey, but the small steps I've made, I have enjoyed. Like, I have picked happiness over money. So, I don't know. I think I'm going on a good incline, and I have you guys to tell me about your mistakes.
Yeah, I really appreciate the journey that I went through. Yeah, there was a point where I had no clue what I wanted, and then I realized with like mentors and just realizing that I wanted to just connect with students. I appreciate the journey and all the advice, and I know that I went into a career that I will stick with for a while. So,
Honestly, Heartbreak, based on everything you were involved with in college, I feel like you're in the perfect career for yourself.
Yeah, facts.
yeah.
Heartbreak kicked ass in college. She's kicking ass now. Like,
You all are kicking ass. Everybody is kicking ass in their own way.
I high key love Heartbreak's job just because like whenever Amin and I go visit, I feel like I'm back at college, like living my life. It's great.
But yeah, so right now I'm gonna go into a segment. Woo! So what is your favorite Indian street food and why?
Can I go last?
Sure.
Thank you.
Amin?
Me first? Oh,
Yeah.
so it's been a while since I've been to India and had this street food, but I always loved kulche when I was in India, and I haven't had it in a long time, so I don't know if I still like it. But I would say my favorite Indian street food last time I went was definitely like the veggie burgers that they make in India, because they are so good and nothing like what you eat here. So definitely the veggie burgers. Or like the samosas. Indian samosas in India are just so good.
I agree with that.
Oh wait, I have a question. What's a golcha?
My mom makes it here sometimes, but it doesn't taste the same. It's like kind of like a pocket of bread with chickpeas in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's addicting in India. It's so good.
Wait, do you mean like the circle sandwiches she makes?
Yeah.
Wait, those are fire! Well, 9 out of 10, I wish she shook out the onions. Just a me thing.
That makes it better.
Really? I always have to pick them out. I just can't eat onions like that.
A kulcha is nothing without the onions.
Right?
Nah, I can't do onions.
Okay,
What?
Yeah.
So my favorite street food, I have to say golgappe. Even though it's awkward how you have to eat it, it's like this round shell and you fill it with like potatoes and like chickpeas sometimes, or like another like lentil or whatever. And inside of it you also put this either a spicy like juice or a sweet juice. And then you have to put the whole round shell in your mouth.
Yeah.
But that's like the fun part about it, you know?
I can't stand golgappe. I don't like golgappe.
What do you mean?
I love golgappe.
Okay, you guys, it's like wet socks. Do you enjoy wet socks? No,
Yeah.
I don't enjoy like getting like.
It's not like wet socks.
Yeah, I don't enjoy getting the water down, like running down my chin, and then getting.
You're not eating it right.
Yeah, how are you
Oh,
eating
I
it?
just don't enjoy golgappe. It's too
You're not eating it right.
I love when you like put it in your mouth and you crunch down and like all of it just like goes in you and it tastes so good. It's just eating like a 2-year-old. It's fine.
Okay, so I have more than one. It's golgappe, and then I do like dolce, but like that's not my high on my list. I really do love the veggie burgers with like the veggie noodles on top of it. Ugh, so good. So good. So good.
India does vegetarian food right. Like America does not.
No, America does not. I agree with that.
They're
Yeah.
all meat eaters.
What about you, Jess?
Okay. When I was thinking about this question, I was very excited, but I do not have a food. I have a drink. Nimbu Pani. Nimbu Pani slaps on a whole different level for me. Like, Nimbu Pani is lemon water, and they make it fresh on the streets. It tastes so good. Whenever we went, what?
You're talking about scungee or literally lemon water?
No, like Nimbu Pani.
Okay.
Yeah. Is what you're talking about the sugarcane?
No, scungee is like lemonade, Indian lemonade.
I don't know, like Nimbu Pani.
I think she's talking about scungee.
I don't know. I don't know. I grew up with it calling Nimbu Pani. It's like kind of like a dark.
Okay,
it's scungee.
I just googled it. It says Nimbu Pani / scungee. So
Okay,
that's what you're talking about.
it's my favorite thing. Whenever we would go to the shops, because shops are so different in India than America. The owner or whoever, if they were close to the family, they would always get us like a drink or like a samosa, and like I would always ask for Nimbu Pani whenever someone was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Nimbu Pani, just get me Nimbu Pani." And I was so mad when we went to India for Amrit's wedding. It was winter, and they do not make Nimbu Pani in winter. I was like, why did I even go to India if I wasn't about to get Nimbu Pani? Like,
I feel like I learned so much about you guys through these podcasts that I would never have known.
no fact.
But yeah, that was our segment. I hope you all had fun with it. But yeah, so like just to kind of close this off, like if you could choose any career, money aside, what would it be?
I can start. So if you know me, there's 2 jobs I've always wanted to have. The first is to be a gift wrapper during Christmas time.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I would just fit that job so well. Like it's my thing. And my second one is I've always wanted to work at a coffee shop. I feel like those people have such like good energy. They always have like their regular customers. They always just seem like they're having a bop. So those 2 would be like my dream careers.
Go ahead, Emin.
Oh, okay. So I think that my dream career, honestly, would be just working for myself in whatever business I'm doing. I love the idea of working for myself. I see like my parents and our family having the restaurant as their small business and how much like power that gives a person. So I think in the future, I would definitely want to have my own kind of small business. So my dream career would be the same, some kind of small business, maybe like a really exciting small business like a wedding decorator. But I just realized with like Corona, not the best time for wedding decorators. So yeah, I guess that's a dream career. I would do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off of what Amin said. I would want to work for myself. I want to be like self-employed, have my own business, and like decorating is kind of a thing of mine too. Like working in higher ed too as an RD, like putting on programs and stuff. That's like another thing that I would do is be like a wedding planner or wedding decorator or like party planner or something like that. But yeah, I would definitely work for myself, be self-employed, entrepreneur, that type of thing.
Yeah,
I could see you doing that, especially after the Christmas peppermints that you made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that I realized recently is how much I would want to have a small business. So that was really cool.
Yeah. So that was it for our episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. So now Amin will be telling you about our next episode.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to this week's episode. So Hassan Minaj, Mindy Kaling, Kumail Nanjiani. These are just a few of the Desi names that have made their way into mainstream media. Next week, we're going to be talking about the brown come up and what Desi representation means for generations of brown kids living abroad. All right, thank you.
Bye.